Okay, let's talk about the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Number one, where is it, what is it, and why should we care? It's located anterior to the premotor cortex. It's one of the 5 components of the prefrontal cortex. It's also known as the air traffic control system of the brain. This is demonstrated in its ability to actually have executive control in terms of the areas of being cognitively flexible, ability to work from short-term memory, and its ability to inhibit inappropriate thoughts, the types of thoughts that you wouldn't say at a dinner party or something like that. What happens when actually things go wrong within this cortical region? Lesions in the right frontal hemisphere lead to a lack of controlled thoughts, inhibition, lack of control over short-term memory, and mania. You also see schizophrenia, and that is defined by excessive dopamine production by the caudate nucleus within the basal ganglia. Unfortunately, there's a connection between this excessive dopamine production and the inactivity of the DLPFC to actually not only keep information relevant, but also to inhibit this production, this excessive production, which may lead to grandiose performances or of thought actually to be expressed. So normally a healthy DLPFC would keep those kinds of thoughts at bay rather than be expressed. Number 3, how do we actually go about testing normal dysfunction or functioning? Turns out that the Wisconsin sorting task, you may or may not be familiar with this specific experiment, but what happens is that your cognitive flexibility is being tested when you are being asked to actually be, to demonstrate your knowledge of differentiating between a shape, and then somewhere along the way of the experiment, you got to differentiate by color or by another denomination. So you have to, or nomination, you got to go about differentiating without the experimenter explicitly saying that. There's also the Stroop task, which is, as you can see, there's that hurdle you got to go through when it comes to the demonstration of the word blue versus the semantic definition of the word blue. Current imaging techniques also show the activation of a healthy DLPFC. So what we see in a healthy DLPFC is neighboring cells will actively kind of raise up the information, relevant information that's happening without actually the need for another stimulus. You don't really see that in patients afflicted with, or subjects afflicted with schizophrenia. Let's go on to number 4. How should we go about treating this dysfunction within the brain itself? We have the idea of antipsychotic medication, which actually inhibits or helps inhibit the firing that I was telling you about before when it comes to inappropriate thought, but it doesn't really target this actual main initial firing. So that's why we're looking towards the idea of early intervention and how that comes to train executive thought in youngsters when it comes to play games. Within games, there's always a problem at bay, so that helps out with the ideas of cognitive flexibility and actually working through short memory tasks that are like essential for the moment. We also see context. The most interesting area I think here is demonstrated by Dr. Doble in her investigation how context plays in actually helping out with or how context on how context is actually essential when it comes to executive control. We also see research in mindfulness, which is really interesting because it goes to show that anybody can develop or enhance their prefrontal cortex despite what age, even though early intervention shows that it's probably more effective when it occurs at a younger age. All right, let's go on to last slide. The screen time and executive control is very interesting right now because we see that currently in research, we see the opposite of what we expect, that how actually educational apps and more screen time is actually improving executive control when it comes to inhibitory skills and working memory. But there's controversy when it comes to this kind of research because there needs to be more testing, there needs to be more of different populations especially. All right, let's go to this last slide where I include helpful, amazing resources. Initially, I included a simulation at the beginning of this video on schizophrenia. I would definitely highly suggest you check that out, especially that second link as well with Dr. Dobo, in which she goes about executive function. Thank you so much today for listening to me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.